According to the New York Post, Donald Trump may do nothing and allow Letitia James to just seize Trump Tower, hoping that when he wins on appeal, he'll get his building back. There are very few options left for Donald Trump because there is no such thing as a $500 million bond. As Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank, a real estate developer, has pointed out numerous times, there's never been a $500 million bond. Many on the left have run stories saying, I thought Trump was a billionaire. Why can't he raise the money? And it's because nobody has that money. That's not how the world works. Unless, I suppose, he goes to a bank who manufactures the debt, but that is one heck of a debt to manufacture through fractional reserve banking. The reality is, my friends, it's a communist takeover. It starts in New York, it starts in California, but we're seeing it extend, obviously, to the federal government. And I don't like the word communist because it's archaic and doesn't quite capture exactly what we're dealing with. It's more of an authoritarian ideological cult that is born from the ideals of communism. But of course, communism had its root in other ideals and ideologies as well. The New York Post says that Trump may just let her take the building. Now, the question is, why? Well, the obvious thing is, what can Trump do anyway? Seriously. There will be a panel of judges that will convene that will make the determination as to whether or not they seize Trump's assets, bank accounts, who knows? But perhaps there's just nothing to be done. And maybe that's the best thing Trump can do because it will galvanize his base. The more Trump gets attacked, the more people see what's going on, the more terrified they get. And in taking these actions, these desperate Hail Mary pass actions, Trump may be smiling all the way to the bank. Many of us want Trump to fight back. Many of us want some kind of legal action from Republicans. But maybe Trump is hoping that the Democrats are overplaying their hand and will shock the system so hard he can't lose come November. And that may be the case. Letitia James, obviously not a smart woman, but an evil woman, may be overplaying her hand. You know, it could come down to this. They threaten Trump. We're going to take your buildings unless you do what we tell you. And Trump says, oh, no, don't. Then when they make their move Monday to take Trump's buildings, he says, oh, geez, look at that. Calling their bluff. You played the hand. You made the big bet. Now you're going to showdown and you're going to show the world what you got. What ends up happening is if she actually takes that building, it may generate substantial support for Donald Trump because it is an unprecedented and egregious action. Peter Navarro is going to prison. He said, if they can come for me, they'll come for you. And that's the communist takeover. Many people asking, what do we do? What can we do? Make sure Donald Trump and the Republicans win. Make sure it's a overwhelming victory that Republicans can take every bit of Congress they can. I don't know what the makeup of the Senate will be. The House, of course, could go Republican. Not that I'm entirely convinced Republicans in Congress would do anything, but Donald Trump with an effective AG could actually change the game. And maybe that's the plan. Because other than that, what else do you do? I think the reality here is, outside of just talking about a general United States communist takeover or neocon or whatever, New York, this has been in the making for some time. And it's quite possible that Letitia James's strategy against Trump is not even necessarily about Trump. You see, back during COVID, Bill de Blasio wanted to buy up the abandoned buildings and turn them into public housing. So here's my prediction. Letitia James seizes Trump Tower and turns it into a migrant homeless shelter. Starts shuttling illegal immigrants and criminal aliens into Trump Tower. They post videos. They're going to post videos like we saw from the ousting of Yanukovych in Ukraine, of them in Trump's penthouse, laughing and degrading it. Maybe. I think that would be a very serious political mistake if they do, but, because it would certainly rile people up in this country. Here's the story from the New York Post. As Donald Trump faces a Monday deadline to post a $554 million bond in the civil fraud case against him in New York, insiders said he may be weighing a little discussed option, doing nothing. That's actually what I thought may be the case. What can you do at all? What can you do? The ex-president reportedly has been struggling to raise cash for the bond, struggling, either from banks or wealthy friends, with his lawyers claiming on Monday that it was a practical impossibility. It's not just that. A communist regime, authoritarian despots, are hell-bent on doing everything in their power to destroy Donald Trump. If Trump asked me for $1, I'd go ahead and assume I ain't never getting that dollar back. That's the reality. Anyone who throws their lot in with Trump financially will see that money gone and could potentially be targeted by the very same communists. Yeah, I really wonder about this. I do. It's been a long time coming. We've seen this happening. What with communist police officers in New York City arresting homeowners, crime skyrocketing, and these cops don't care. They don't care at all. They're communist cops. They're appointed by communists. Everybody says back to blue, and I'm like, the NYPD leadership is appointed by Democrat communists, and then they go out and hire people who will do what they tell them to do. And then people say, yeah, but I talked to a cop once, and they said, yeah, sure they did, but they're still willing to march behind communists. I'm not really into that. I suppose what I think about is I wonder if maybe in 5-10 years, I find myself in some kind of gulag. Gulag wasn't really the name of the prisons, but you get the point. And it's because all of these videos that exist, they're going to say you're counter-revolutionary, you're white supremacist, you're far right, whatever it is. And there's no functional resistance outside of Trump. Maybe Trump wins. He gets 4 years. He makes the moves that he can make, but he's stonewalled every step of the way because there are too many communists working in the FBI and the intelligence agencies. And that's it. He ends up leaving the presidency, and then Democrats come in, rigging the system, and there it is. I wish I could predict what was going to happen. I really have no idea. They're going to say, while some reports have raised speculation that Trump may go nuclear with a Chapter 11 filing to protect his prized real estate assets across Manhattan, experts said bankruptcy would create unwelcome complications as the 2024 election season comes to a head. He's been there and done that, one insider close to Trump said, dismissing the prospect of a Chapter 11 filing. A third possibility, however, is to let the deadline pass, leaving it to the Attorney General, Letitia James, to seize Trump's bank accounts or buildings, including Trump Tower, from which he declared his 2016 presidential run, and which famously includes his personal penthouse. It's an option Trump appears to have considered, partly because he believes the chances are good that he could recover the assets on appeal, even if he is forced to take his case to the U.S. Supreme Court, according to friends. Even if there is a taking, it doesn't mean he can take it back later, a Trump source told the Post. A decision to do nothing poses risks of its own. Among them is that the AG's office has the right to sell any properties it confiscates in order to recover the cash penalties it is owed. And might I remind you, the cash penalty is an arbitrary number they made up, and Trump never had a trial. I want to make sure I get this one in there because I think this is one of the most important elements that you need to understand that people should be sharing. New York civil investigation of the Trump Organization. In September 2023, Enron issued a summary judgment that Trump and his company had committed fraud for years. That's it. Summary judgment. This is where we currently are. Donald Trump never had a trial, just like Alex Jones never had a trial. It's crazy because, I feel like we're having so many victories culturally, but the reality is, look around you. They're arresting homeowners. Let's do the time travel test. If I went back in time 10 years and said 10 years from now, police will be arresting homeowners, criminal aliens will be invading the country to the tune of millions, hundreds of thousands per month, with one going on TikTok, going on social media and saying, invade the homes, steal the homes from Americans. Who's going to believe that? Say, if Democrats win, this is what they'll do. They'll say, shut up. I think the big challenge that every generation faces, every historical revolution faces, every good people from France to Spain to Russia, is that it's a creeping mold. Every day, one grain of sand is added to the heap and people tolerate it until it's too late. Until it's too late. Right now, I feel like, the Rubicon may have already been crossed. You take a look at what's going on in New York City, and it's just, look where we are. They created a fake trial with fake claims. Trump's lender said there was no harm done. There was no fraud. Real estate developers worldwide have said Trump didn't commit fraud. What are you talking about? Kevin O'Leary has been going on multiple shows on cable TV and cable news saying this is not fraud. He didn't do anything. The banks do their own assessment. You both present your evaluations, and then the bank chooses to give you a loan or not. They were made whole and given all their money back. There's no victim. There's no crime. There's no fraud. Jen Garan, smiling for the cameras. Summary judgment. That means when Letitia James went to the judge and said Trump committed fraud, he went, I don't need to see any evidence. I don't need to see any proof. Trump committed fraud. Bang. Now let's figure out how much money he owes us. Letitia James actually campaigned on doing this. Without ever finding any proof of wrongdoing, she said, vote for me and I will get Trump. And this is where we are. There's a bigger plan at play, I'd imagine. I wanted to show you this. This is an older article. This is from 2020. De Blasio reveals he wants to buy empty New York City buildings and turn them into affordable housing after moving 13,000 homeless into hotels for more than $2 million a night and shaming rich residents who left to escape COVID-19 as fair weather friends. New York has been taken over by communists. There's no other way to put it. That's it. The COVID lockdowns, arguably, did very little to stop anything, but it certainly destroyed small businesses, destroyed the wealth and income of generations, and it dropped the property value of buildings to dirt, to which the communist former mayor de Blasio said outright, we'll take the buildings and turn them into affordable housing. Now Letitia James wants to seize Trump's properties. It's staring you in the face, man. This is why at a certain point, I think, we have to, it's probably time to leave California, New York, to even Illinois to an extent. The big blue, Portland for sure. We had this debate back and forth for a couple of years which is, should you leave or stay in and defend your home? At this point, my concern is with the attack on people's homes, livelihoods, inheritance, you need to sell and get out ASAP. Why? We need those resources. We need your strength and we need your success. New York is crumbling. Let it crumble. Do not lend them your voice or your power. Get out of these places. Stop running businesses out of these places. Head to an area like West Virginia, perhaps Texas, and start growing, start developing. Get fit, get strong, make money, have a family, and bolster the places where liberty still exists. Now, last night, Clint Russell, who is running for the vice presidential position, the vice presidency with the Libertarian Party. It's how it works with Libertarians. Libertarians do not do this, Democrats and Republicans, it's like you choose you get nominated, then you choose a running mate. Libertarian Party actually nominates both. So he's running for the vice president. His position is national divorce because war is worse. And it's a remarkable position that I cannot agree with. I say it's remarkable because it's basically capitulation. It is saying Democrats have done untold wrongdoing. They are seizing buildings. They are arresting the innocent. They are releasing criminals onto the street to the point where yesterday, a viral video of Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks saying, if this is what it means to be on the left, I'm not on the left anymore. Cenk Uygur says, no, it's only fringe activists who are saying these things. Sure enough, like clockwork, prominent personalities on the left immediately started attacking Anna Kasparian, calling her right-wing and insulting her because Cenk is wrong. It's not a fringe group of activists. It is the play. They want the chaos and the destruction. From the ashes of the old, we shall build anew. They said this to me 13 years ago. I was talking to the activists who are working at Occupy Wall Street, and they outright say this. They say, we want to burn it down. They want to reduce it to zero and start over. Like Fight Club. And a Fight Club blows up all the credit buildings, all the banks, And then everyone's debt goes to zero, he says. And from there, you can crawl and fight your way to the top. And guess what? These far leftists that are willing to firebomb federal buildings, and they want you to not have guns, but they certainly want guns. They have no problem being violent. They know you have a problem being violent. You look at these criminals in places like Illinois, and they know you cannot defend yourself. It's illegal to have guns. I should say very, very difficult to get guns in places like Illinois, New Jersey. So the criminals illegally get them and say, I don't care. They don't care about breaking the law. They know you do, which makes you the victim. And that's where we currently are. The far left is making a bet. Their bet is that they are willing to commit egregious acts of violence, and the good, honest people of America are not. And it's true. So that means for those of us who believe in truth, justice, and the American way, our option is procedural right now. It's our only chance. Donald Trump has to win. A lot of people ask me, and then what? What if he doesn't? And I'm like, yeah, what if that's carrying a lot of weight? It is. That what if is a dark question. It is a sword of Damocles resting over the heads of the people leading this movement. It is the precipice. I have no good answer, and I can make no predictions. But I can tell you this. No matter who wins come November, I do not believe there will be peace. That's it. I wish that wasn't the case. But as Phil Labonte said numerous times on Timcast IRL, where's the off-ramp? Agreed. We can't see an off-ramp. So what I say is train, get fit, get healthy. You know, I was saying last night on Timcast IRL, come November, you should be in shape if you're not already. Many of you probably are, because we all know that working out is a path towards being right-wing. But I think you should certainly start getting in shape for yourself, for your health. Why? Here's what I hope. As many of you flee California, New York, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, whatever, and make your way to Florida or Texas or perhaps West Virginia, when you do, you will find an opportunity for growth. You'll start making more money. You'll start helping others make more money. You'll develop this parallel economy. You'll help build culture. You'll find a life partner and have a family, and you will get fit, and you will be strong, healthy, and successful. And the communists, they will be angry, they will be out of shape, and they will be without resource, and they'll have nothing but their anger. When it comes time, November, for us to engage, not even November, but throughout October as well. I mean, start getting into shape now, because October is going to be the apex, the climax, the grand finale. We're going to have early voting, mail-in voting. We need all the legal ballot harvesting we can get. We need people knocking on doors 100-fold. The Democrats have an advantage in urban environments. We need every single person to be knocking on every door they can, to spread word everywhere they can. And the real issue right now that'll get everybody, especially in the suburbs, is illegal immigration. And, you know, my pitch is always, this is what I'd say to someone. When they say, I just hate Donald Trump, I say, look, I get it. I do. But look at what's happening with the criminal aliens, right? These crimes that are being committed. As much as you don't like Donald Trump, you're worse off with Joe Biden. Yeah, call it the lesser of two evils, call it whatever you want. But I don't want to see your home be destroyed and then have criminal aliens come and take it. You can say illegal immigrants or whatever, and some people won't buy it. Some people are going to be indoctrinated left. But the real issue here, or I should say the real data that we're looking at shows the illegal immigration crisis has gotten many Democrats to consider abandoning Joe Biden. That's the effort we need to make. If we can pull that off in October, and Donald Trump gets elected, it might stop. And that's my hope. I don't know what the probability is, but that's my hope. My hope is Donald Trump gets elected, and it's the last dying gasp of the deep state uniparty establishment. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Obama, they got nothing left. There's no backbench for the Democrats. If they lose this, it's done. That's it. Trump can then very quietly and peacefully start firing people weeding out individuals from various positions in the federal government, cleaned things up. And I'm not talking about my hope and desire is he fires everybody, criminal charges across the board, but he doesn't even need to do that. He gets elected, he gets in office, and he just fires the right people. And that begins the process by which the uniparty communist establishment begins to crumble. And then we start to move in a positive direction. Donald Trump he leaves in 2028, a very old and tired man. And the Democratic Party will be forced to bend toward the right in order to try and be competitive in any capacity. But they have no real backbench. And 4 years, it's probably not enough time to muster up a good candidate. Gavin Newsom is not a good candidate. You take a look at some individuals that have run politically for the presidency, and you can just tell when someone's got the X factor and they don't. Jeb Bush ain't got no X factor. It was obvious. Mitt Romney doesn't have it. Not going to win. Gavin Newsom is basically Democrat Mitt Romney. It's just he does not have it. Joe Biden also does not have it. But to be fair, he's at the threshold. He really is. He was the vice president under Barack Obama. And that brought memories back to people. And they said, we want to try this again. You see, many people thought Donald Trump was the cause of all that ailed them, when in reality, he was a symptom of what ailed them. The reality is that it's Barack Obama's fault, all of it. So when Trump emerges, no, I shouldn't say just Barack Obama. George W. Bush certainly played a role, but when Barack Obama comes into his position following this massive crisis and collapse, and you get Occupy Wall Street during the Obama administration, it's because people do not think Obama is doing right. This populist movement arises. The Tea Party, Occupy Wall Street, they could have come together. They really could have. Occupy Wall Street needed, on day one, Steve Bannon to show up at Zuccotti Park. If Steve Bannon showed up at Zuccotti Park on day one, it would have been a united front. Because you would have ended up with populist people on the right saying, look, we can disagree on all these other issues, but we agree on the banks. And Steve Bannon says tax the rich, wealth tax, all of that stuff. I wish he had been there. But unfortunately, the powers that be split the populist movement, injected identity politics, and now you have two movements at odds with each other, and one's been deeply indoctrinated. The Democrats try to wield that power like the One Ring, but they cannot, and it's crushing them. It will be their own demise. And so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The power they are exerting is going too far. I hope that come November, Trump gets elected, and it's simple. Just people get fired, and we see the criminal charges. I'm not confident we're going to see. I mean, look, I just said maybe in 2020, I'm not confident Trump's actually going to go and arrest people. He didn't do it with Hillary Clinton in 2016, 2017. However, this time they're trying to put Trump in prison for the rest of his life, and they're seizing his assets and destroying everything about him. I think at this point, Trump may be saying, this time we will lock her up. We'll see, man. Look at what is happening in New York. It's unprecedented. It is just communists unilaterally declaring they will seize the assets of their political opponents. This does not end well. I fear what happens more if Trump doesn't win. If the Democrats win, it'll be bad. I got to be honest. I can't tell you. If the Democrats win in November, this degree of communism and asset forfeiture will reach levels of Venezuela and Cuba. If Donald Trump wins, the far left will literally burn the country to the ground. We'll see, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.